Over the plastic was a snake 3 times around. And I got sick of it. I was scared, sweated, I took a shovel and I got pale in the face. I thought I faint. I never killed the animal. Then I called up the zoo. And they said I shouldn't touch him, that this was a cow snake. But we used to have, and I moved them poisonous, those black ones in the back. And I still see a lot of them, such long ones, but the skin like a pencil. And there are about 10, 12 of them.
So, there are lots of questions.
Okay, well, I came from a very large family.
Okay.
Yes,
Yes.
about 10 people. Yes. And we had a general store before we used to have, before I was born. This goes in the First World War. My father had wholesale tobacco, cigarettes, cigars, because this was a monopoly. Not everybody could have it. Only if somebody was injured in a war or something, they gave him a permit. It was only by permits. And we have only 2 in our city. We had it, and we delivered actually to the Austrian army, to the Russian army, the German army.
Wow.
In our city, I came from Silesia, and all 3 were in our city. Several streets were the Russians, several streets were not the communist Russian. This was under, before, by the Tsar. And then was the Austrian head, and then the Germans. And I have postcards it shows the triangle with all stamps, the German stamp, the Austrian stamp, and and the Russian stamp on it. I have a lot of souvenirs. I'm a nut when it comes to history. I was, in fact, in the school, I was the best in geography. And this is true stamps. I learned true stamps, the history from everywhere. Yes. And we have carbide also, because we had about 30 coal mines in our city. And the coal miners need the lamps, what they have on their heads, with carbide. And it smells, so the carbide, I all kind of like to smell later on. And then, what happened 1938, when the Crystal Night started out, then hooligans put on brown shirts, some of them even my friends from school, and they knocked out windows in Jewish stores, and they told me, because I went to school, that I should run away, because they wanted to beat up the other guys, the bunch of hooligans. But what happened, we were looking in a kiosk reading the papers day and day, and we stood about 8 guys, and they says, Morris, get lost, and another one too, because they knew us. So we ran away toward our store where we had, and it was a corridor like, that you can close the door. So they ran after us, and 3 guys ran in, and we locked the door, and they got a beating for us. Boy, did they got a beating. They would never start again. Because we didn't let them in, the other ones, and we didn't let them out. And we were 6 guys. Yes. But that's what happened. We had to close our store, because they boycotted our store, although we have only Polish clientele. And I will never forget that there were 2 Polish women, 2 sisters, Wojnowska, Piątkowska, beautiful people. And with the package book, they start chasing away the guys that they boycotted our store, but they didn't help. So we had to close it up. And then, of course, we prepared. We knew it's going to be a war. We started digging trenches, and they said we put on the windows, tape that from bombing they shouldn't. And then, 1st of September 1939, I was laying in bed, and I hear noise, such a noise from airplanes. So you wake up 5 in the morning. I look out and I see full planes so low, like over the roofs. So I ran out in my pyjama, I just put on some shoes and ran after them, and a lot of guys were ran after. We thought that they're going to fall down or something, we didn't know. And those planes were actually dropping down what they call it, Diversant. They were the 5th column from German. They dropped them behind the lines, and they let know the German army where Polish soldiers are, if it's safe there, where they're strong. But they caught a lot of them, and when the Polish army caught them, because they didn't go, they went in uniforms, so they undressed them only in the underpants, and they hung them on the trees. on the underpin that they should know that they're not soldiers, but they private what they did. Yeah. And then of course the war started and
I want to take you back,
yeah,
way back.
way back.
Let's start with, what was your date of birth?
November 10, 22.
November
A youngster.
And were you born Morris Rosen, or what was
No,
your
it
original
was
name?
Moniak,
Monia?
Polish, yeah.
And your
But
last
here
name?
became Morris. And Rosen was also with the S, with the Z. And here it became with the S. In German also with the S.
Okay. Where were you born?
And Częstochowa. Did you ever hear of the Black Madonna?
No.
No. You a Catholic?
No, I'm Jewish.
No. Yeah? You
Yeah.
Jewish?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And you?
I'm Serbian Orthodox.
Serbian Orthodox. Did you hear in Poland, you were born in Serbia?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Then you probably heard in Poland the Black Madonna?
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Mhm.
Yeah. I was born with the Black Madonna. It's the holiest place in Poland, on a mountain, you know, and there I was born. And in fact, when I was born, because we lived in Dąbrowa, in Silesia, but when my mother gave birth, she was pregnant with me. To have birth, she went to her parents, and I came from Częstochowa. So actually, there was no Jewish hospital or anything, and I was born with the nonsa, the nunnery, and two cousins that I just met them about 15 years ago. They told me that they watched me. According to the Jewish law, that you can't leave a boy, suppose he's getting baptized, nobody will know. So they watched me all night long. One lived in Paris and one lived in Israel. Yes, and I found out this. And then of course I went back to Dąbrowa, yes. What's your name, please?
Julie
Julie what?
Siegel.
Siegel.
S-E-G-A-L.
Where do you live, Siegel? In the Vice or here?
I'm from Chicago.
Oh, you're from Chicago, because I know a lot of Siegels here.
Do you?
Yes, yes.
They probably spell it differently though.
Yeah, where do you live in Chicago? Which place?
Evanston?
I know a little bit Chicago, I have a lot of friends there. I was invited by the Polish, you know, the Polonus. There's a large Polish,
Yeah.
yes, where all the cemeteries are, the Maria that, and I went all the time restaurant, I think it was Maria's, for Krupnik I went there with the Polish guys. Oh boy. Probably my son, it was my son's birthday.
Oh.
He lives in Canada. We talk every day. So he likes to call my sister in Israel to wish her for Happy New Year. And she's not home already for 3 weeks. Well, she went away for 3 weeks. She gets from Germany, you know, they give her 3 weeks vacation because she's sick, you know, because she was in camps. Yes, so I told him, what, but she should be back. I said, no, she'll be back in another 2 days. Yeah.
So,
Yes.
can you tell me what your childhood was like? Is it very
My
early?
childhood was very nice. I have a lot of Polish friends, because where we lived was about 60 tenants, the biggest home in our city. And they have a private school for girls there, you can imagine. And whenever I was beaten up in the school as a Jewish guy, I took out on the girls. When I came home from my school, it was winter time, I rode them in the snow and everything. And then I cried, why did I do? They didn't do anything, they're nice girls. And I was sorry. Yeah, because I have a lot of Polish good friends. I mean, we lived together, like, and we ate together, and we went out together as kids. And one was there, Landsberg. He must be a German guy. He had 2 cars. Who had 2 cars at that time? And a motorcycle. He went all the time on hunting. Yes. And his son went every day with a different uniform, like you say. Well, a good friend of mine. In fact, I was jealous a lot of time. Yes. And we were good. But when the war broke out, it wasn't the same, I think. My sister, the best friend was a Polish girl. Every Christmas we went the kids, to see her tree, everything. They spent our Jewish holidays at our table all the time. The best friend, yes, and father was a communist. But the war broke out, the father didn't want to know her, because he was either scared. They lived in a nice little home in the fields, like, yes, so that's what happened, yes. But I was very good, and I started collecting stamps when I was 6 years old.
Wow. Yeah.
How did I start collect? Because we have the business, so came in a principal from the school, and every month he came to collect stamps for my father, postcards, because one of my sisters knew Esperanto. I know if you know what Esperanto is, the international language.
Oh, okay.
That they wanted to make Esperanto as one language in the world, and it was very, very popular in the 30s, in the 20s, and he corresponded with the whole world, in Esperanto. And in fact, it was a Jewish guy that invented the Esperanto language, yes. Which have stamps on it, the whole world issued stamps for him, yes. And so I told her, I want the stamps. No, he comes every time, I promise I can do that. If you want, well, we have the store under the steps. You find a lot of stamps there, because in Poland, the business, you never threw away correspondence. And when I went there, did I make a mess? If I wouldn't know what I found there, how valuable it was, and I threw them off, damaging this. Then when I came for my books for the first grade, I went and I see full packets of stamps in the bookstore. I said, oh, I have some stamps. He said, bring, let me see. When I bought, why did you tear this off? And they were very valuable. When I bought a couple envelopes with the stamps on it, she gave me packets of 500 different stamps, 1,000, just for an envelope. Then when I got older, I realized they were the money. They were Polish stamps, Russian stamps with a little Polish language underneath, from 1858.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
And then when I started, and when the war broke out, I had a beautiful collection. But my sister ran out. She noticed through the window her girlfriend went on a bike, so she ran out without the armband. As she ran out, a policeman, a gendarme, went by, and without the armband, so he chased her to her home, and I was fooling around with my stamps. So he took away my stamps. I was crying like a baby. He must be a collector. He said, the government will pay for it. You don't supposed to have this. You're not allowed to. He was probably a collector. And I have the Olympic stamp for 1936. I was all the time involved in sports and soccer, ping pong. And I watched all the soccer games in Europe, not on the television. We didn't have television, but on the radio and in the papers. So he took everything away. I cried for months over that. This was my life. Now don't forget, you didn't have television at the time. You didn't have computers, right? All you did, stamps was very popular because the king collected stamps all the time. King Farouk from Egypt, from England, the king, George, or the others. And it was very educational. Because I was the best in geography, because through the stamps.
Mm-hmm.
I knew where all the rivers and everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little about your family? What about your father and mother?
Yeah, well, we were a nice family and very respectful, because they were respected in our city. And my son, he doesn't feel too good today. He's laying down here. He took some medicine, doesn't agree with him for a cold. So he's laying bed all day long. Yeah. And we had a business, and I tell you, when we went, for instance, we came to the synagogue, and I went with him to the synagogue on a Saturday. It wasn't that Paul shouldn't bend and take off his hat, how are you, Mr. They all knew it, because he gave a lot of money also for police station. He donated and other. He was clean cut. I have here a picture. If you see the picture, you can recognize he was nice. Yes, very nice. And they have very respectful. They have such a high respect for them.
And what was his name?
Jacob.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he owned the store, and did you help out with the store at all?
No, we were young, yes. We were young, yes, how? No. And then we closed up, and then he went on something else. He became from a big firm that they make the models from wood what they put in the modern, all the ladies' shoes and other things, they were modern all the thing. He was a representative of the biggest firm in Poland, Biegum. And what I want to say, all the envelopes had like a triangle with the name from the firm Biegum. And in Polish, the South Pole is called, in the South Pole, Biegum. So I told them what I did, I cut them out, and then I put the teeth, the perforations. My sister had a tailor machine, so I make the perforations. In the school, they're very different from the South Pole. Every time I took 20 stems for one, I was a cheat.
And what did your mother do? And what was her name?
Golda,
Golda?
yeah. And housewife, she shouldn't store too oil. In fact, I found now, we received from the United States, I have an older brother that he was here, he sent in some money, dollars, and it came on a Saturday. My father would never sign on a Saturday anything, So I know my mother signed his signature, and I found this by my aunt in New York, such a kind receipt.
And how many siblings did you have?
Well, 10 we were together, yeah. But this was from 2 mothers.
2 mothers.
Yeah, my mother 3, and the other one 7, yeah. But we lived like one family, it doesn't make no difference. Have here my sister in Baltimore, my God, we were no different. In fact, my sister was better loved by the sister that lived here than by her own brother or something, yeah. No, we lived together like one thing, it didn't make no difference. Never made any difference.
Tell me about your home.
Oh, well, we lived in a nice apartment. Yes, it was the biggest, what I told you, price, everything. And the only thing I couldn't understand, because we had such a respect for my father, we would never sit in his chair, we were not allowed. And when we went to eat, or something like that, we could never dare to get away from the table till he said it's okay. And of course, all the toilets were outside. Nobody had toilets at that time, but outside, like here, they didn't have either. We have 2 toilets in our apartment. Big corridor that I ran with the bike in the corridor, big one, all the rooms, and they were. And my father has his own bathroom. Nobody would dare, even my mother wouldn't dare to go in there. No, serious. Even my mother wouldn't go in there.
Wow.
Yes. And I remember the water we had to pull, and on the top was a thing with water, and we pulled that out the water. And then we didn't need no refrigeration because we had like big as a room on the end of the building. It was all brick, cold, very cold. Even the summertime, no heat went through because against the sun it was built, everybody had like this. And we had this like a refrigerator. Kept everything fresh, and of course you didn't need to put away meats because every day you bought fresh things there. And with big shelves, I remember, especially for the holidays, we have shelves just for the holidays, that nothing else was there. The different dishes, yes.
Did you share a bedroom with your siblings, or did you have your own room?
No, I have with my brother, yes. And then don't forget, my older sister, she was married, she lived in Warsaw, so she didn't live home. And 2 brothers, one went to study in England, and one, he was in the business, a big businessman. He, as a youngster, 16-year-old, what they told me, because I didn't know him. And they wanted to rob our store. And he had a permit. The police didn't have guns there. Whoever heard, nobody killed there in Poland, nobody. I remember once a woman killed her husband. All the radios were blasting away for weeks about her and all the papers. We never heard killing, it was never. Sometimes beating up robberies, but never killing. And so the police did never have guns, even in the 1st of May. Oh gosh, I'm going to disconnect the phone. No English. No.
Popular.
No, I helped out here. She came 3 years ago and they called me from the Jewish council. They couldn't understand it, so they called me up, can I help translating? You know, they know me. So I went, and then she asked, can I take you out? She didn't have nobody. So I took her out several times, and she comes over the weekend here. She doesn't have nobody, so I invite her here for the holidays and this, so she's thankful. And I got her a job, I got an apartment, because she wouldn't get even an apartment if she didn't have the green paper. Nothing. And I got, and now she has the green paper already.
Did you have a special relationship with any of your siblings?
Well, we all were very good, very close. My brother, my older brother, he all time took me out to the soccer games, yes, and to a movie, yes. Don't forget, the movies were very expensive, and you didn't make like here money like free and this. And with the stamps when I bought what I did, it's funny, I belonged to a organization, a scout organization, and there came a girl from another city that they chased out, even by the Poles here. So she became my friend. She was tall, much taller than I am, because in Poland, the Polish girls looked for short guys. I know why. The short guys picked only tall girls, and they didn't mind. Here, I wouldn't go out with the tall girl. They wouldn't go out with me, let's put it that way. But there, so when she came to the house, we should go out there to the organization. My father said, you first study something, Torah. And then he gave me, if I knew from the remembering, not from the book. So he gave me a zloty. A zloty was enough for 2 movies and buy something in the movie also. A lot of money, yes. But for the stamps I made a lot of money. You had a lot of drunks in Poland. I mean, when they got paid, they didn't even take it home, the money, the coal miners, they drank. And they threw the bottles over the fences. I got up 4:30 in the morning, every Monday morning. Over the weekend, I got so many bottles, and for every bottle I got a nickel for the smaller ones from vodka. The bigger bottles I got 10 cents. And I collected for about 3 zlotys to 4 zlotys, and this was enough for the whole week, buy a lot of stamps.
That was clever.
Yeah.
You said that you were observantly religious, or religiously
I
observant.
wasn't, my parents.
Your parents.
My mother not so, because when I walk out from the house, I have to wear a hat at home. The minute I walked out, I had my hat outside, so my mother, don't forget to put it on when you come in.
Can you tell me about like a Shabbat dinner?
Oh, the Shabbat dinner was out of really. Was a lot prepared. First of all, it was no day that somebody bought ready challah like here, because every housewife was baking them fresh, cakes and all kind of things, you know. When it was blueberries, they made those nice things. They were so good, all kinds, cheesecakes, everything, and it was a good dinner every time. It has to be chicken soup all the time, and with lima beans a lot of times, with rice, yes. Knedloch is only that we made for the high holidays or the other holidays, for Pesach, but otherwise, no, we had other things. And then you have fish, but this has to be live fish, and I couldn't see my mother killing it. I walked away. Live fish, yeah. Made it good. I didn't know what gefilte fish is here till I came here. Like in Israel, they make the good fish. Yes. And then we have, of course, either chicken or meat, good meat, and with other things to it, and some sweets after, and this was good.
What else did you guys do on a Friday night Shabbat?
Well,
Like
Friday
the
night,
afterwards?
no, where we used to sing, you know, and this, and then go out, you know. Go out, for instance, winter time when it snowed, and this was the nicest thing to go out, and you know, like in Atlantic City on the boardwalk, that's how we went. But the only one thing, if you had a white shirt and you came home, it was full of salt, because we have the big foundry with the big chimneys and all the coal mines. So it was a lot of dirt coming out from the chimneys. Yes. But he have a nice life because it came Saturday, especially winter time when Saturday's over very early. So my parents opened the store because Saturday the store was closed. And so my sister, and then we have a maid, Kasia, and she used to make a potato soup. And all the guys, my friends, came up for the potato soup. And then we took, as youngsters, we made out with big shots. We took the girls under the arm. We went for promenade under the arm. I went with 2 girls. not in the city, but we went out with the school and behind with the woods there. Had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun. But till 38, when it started to get very bad, then yes. And don't forget, they have a lot of Catholic holidays. I know what they call them. They're all in yellow, they put up booths with all holy things, with crosses and things. They was I was scared a little to pass by because they're all the time, not everybody, but you have somebody. Then they have a holiday, they call it Schmigus, that they all went to church in white dresses, and then you threw water at them. I know if they have it here too, but the Catholics, they throw water, after that. This is the holy water. Yes. So what I did, we have one doctor lived below one floor. We had the balcony on the 3rd floor. They were on the 2nd floor, the balcony. And the 2 girls came all the time, beautiful new white dresses. They were extremely rich. And the mother was a midwife that she probably delivered most of the Jewish kids. Yes, Hadowska. In fact, I saw in 78 the daughter. I have a picture of a beautiful girl. She gave me a picture. So all the time I took a bucket water, not a bottle, but a bucket water, and she didn't know her up and thing. And when I came nowadays, I saw in Poland, now I can beat you up. At that time I couldn't, now I can beat you up. What you did to me. And then we played dirty tricks as youngsters. You think it wasn't fun? We made tight packages with the fancy paper, with fancy ribbons, the colorful ribbons. What did we put in there? Dung from the horses. And we dropped on the street, and we looked out the balcony all the time, and we saw somebody picked it up. They look, nobody sees. They grabbed it, ran. They come on, they saw what happened. Then we did another trick. For instance, after 11 o'clock, nobody could get in. It was a big gate, big gate, and you have to ring the bell that the one that took care on it, he was an elder man over 70, 75, hardly use home, walking with his shoes here. And then he sat down all the time on the 2 steps there where we went up and there. You have to give him like a nickel. Yeah. So we made in a nickel a hole on the string. When we gave him, pulled him, I pick it up. And then this wasn't enough. We were angry at him because wherever we played soccer, he used to chase us away because we used to knock out windows. With the goal we knocked out, we have to pay for it, the parents. So what we did, we put thumbtacks on the step where he sat down. We did such a dirty trick. We were mean. And then our landlord had a big garden. What a huge garden. He had cows, everything. Very rich. We got over the fence, were about 5, 6 guys with bags. We start to take gooseberries a lot, and and then we went to the store. We sold it for a couple of candies. Then she noticed, so she did a dirty trick. She put in a big, like they have the big barrels for wine, but the big one. Yeah, and she filled in with water. She knew in the place where we go over, and we had one guy, and he came into the water. It's high fence into the water. Oh, help! I'm drowning. So then we didn't go no more. So we pulled away, 2 boards from the gate. Day around it was all fenced in, and during the day when she watched, I had a big stick with a piece of wire and pulled the tomatoes from the wire and brought a little hole, and we got it and went to the store for candies. It was a different life. It was a happy life. I mean, we were happy-go-lucky. And Saturday, from the organization, the Zionist organization and the Scouts, we have woods there. So every Saturday and Sunday we went to the woods. And sometimes there were the big ants they bit. You were so 2 days from the bite. Oh, my son must be.
Did you mention that you were a part of a Zionist organization?
Yeah.
Can you tell me more about that?
Well, we came like every day after school in the evening. We used to dance there and discuss books. All the time we discussed books. And because it was different. There you read a lot and you didn't want to be behind. I read Mein Gott. I was 12 years old. I read Dostoevsky, Sienkiewicz, Povadis. And I stole my sister's book and she had, "Get away, you broke all the texts." Yeah, he broke me this big thing. It's a valuable thing, yeah. And even sex books I read when I was only 12 years. I stole from her to read them. She was older than she didn't know. So you educated yourself, because they didn't teach this in school.
And did you also mention that you were part of like a Boy Scouts?
Yes.
Can you tell me
We
about
used to
that?
go like for the weekend.
Mhm.
In summertime, especially when no school, we used to eat on bikes. Or if not, we used to walk. We do a lot of walk. Took about 3 hours walking to the woods and another thing. And I would never forget Swafkov. This was where people went for vacation. So there was a lot of woods there and the cold spring waters. Okay, I let you out. It was very cold, the spring water. We had to wash there. And I used to go there near a farm with another guy. Come on, Button. Come on, get out. Come on, I let you out. Come over below. And we used to take a couple apples from a tree, so the farmer came out with a big hoe. And he yelled and started chasing. We were so scared that he's going to kill us. Never went back there. But it was nice. What happened? Everybody took along food. But you didn't eat the food that you brought. It was everything put in one thing. And then we have Rosh Hashanah, what they call the eldest, from the group, a group leader. She was old, of course. And then she was smart because there were other poor people also. And she picked whatever is better, give it to the poor kids, yes. And she knew it, yeah, and I knew it too, what she's doing. I was very glad, yes. Everybody knew about it, but this was the only thing, not to insult nobody or anything. And we used to dance and sing, make fire till 12 o'clock at night, and then we lay down on hay, in the barns. That's where we slept. Yeah, it was like a vacation. Yeah, it was very nice. But I will never forget once I went on a colony, what they called it, for 2 weeks. And it was thunder and lightning. In the woods, we had bugs like in the woods. We made prayers. Everything was burning around us. The lightning, they stalked the woods. Oh gosh, were we petrified. My brother came on his bike to bring me money and some chocolates and this. No, I want to go home. I'm petrified, I'm scared. He had to take me home. I didn't want to stay. I was scared. It were all the time thunder and lightning, the big storms. So that's what you remember. You're only interested from before the war.
Yes, only before the war. We'll have 2 more interviews with you, and
Okay.
in the second we'll talk about what happened during the war, and
Okay.
in the third we'll talk about.
Will I see the
Everything
paper after
after.
you finished?
Oh, we
A
can
copy?
show you everything.
Okay.
I think we're gonna have a presentation,
Yeah?
and you'll be invited to that.
Okay, why not? I know, I talked already several times there.
Mhm.
Yes. I talked to the army And in the army, Fort Meade, I have about 400 soldiers there, officers. And it happened to be the 9th of May, I will never forget. And they, oh my, you a nuisance, you know? Come on, either you sit out or take, you have food there.
Excuse me, Dad.
Yeah.
Can I speak to you for a moment, please?
Yeah.
Oh, were you gonna say something?
Yeah. So, when I go meet again.
Oh, well, we still have a few more questions that
Yes.
we need to get through right
Yeah.
now.
He lives far away, he lives an hour away, that's why he came on to go home.
Oh,
Why? Otherwise the kids won't make the lessons.
okay. Do you need to be out of here by a certain time?
Yeah,
What-
that's why. That's why he said 5 o'clock. I thought for an hour is enough time. Yeah, but the next time I can do longer because I won't have this thing.
Okay,
He promised to go out on the birthday and this and this.
okay.
That's why. And the other one doesn't feel good, that's why he came. And that's why he didn't bring the kids.
Ah, I see.
Otherwise the kids